Takiapi, Nawambli Jaja Zizi and Miado. My name is Golden Light, Ego, and I want to talk a little bit about star people. First of all, we're all star people because of our metabolism is made of water. You know, we're more water than anything. And the molecular structure, when it's in its crystalline form, is a six-pointed star. And this has been proven scientifically. So, them grandmas tell us we are water babies. You know, we're water. Now, water is our basic ingredient that we all need. So it's the star medicine, the most powerful star medicine on Mother Earth. So, from that, just from that basic formula of water, then we're able to see ourselves as a star man, a star race, a star people. And even if somebody is from way outside in some other universe and they're able to look at us, they're going to see us as a little star, you know, out there, and we're star people, according to them. So, as above, so below. Now, we didn't have words for what terminologies they have today, like UFOs, unidentified flying objects, and also aliens and extraterrestrials, EV and extraterrestrial biological entities. We didn't have those terminologies. Those are terminologies that separate you from something and somebody so beautiful. So we had a terminology. We didn't grow up with that. See, so we had a word called Wichachpe. Wichachpe, we have to the star nations, and there's billions of them. You look outside, every one of those lights, every one of those novas and galaxies and many billions of universes, they're all there. So, but where your eye usually sets in the sky at night is the source of your communication. Now, we have what they call vibration, a strong vibration, and it's a frequency that we read in each other. When you go in a room, you could feel the vibration of the room. Something is going on. You could feel when things are not quite up to par with how you want them to feel. Maybe there was an argument, maybe there was something happened. You could feel. So it's a vibration that you release. You release. And so the spirit, the star people, and everybody on earth has this. So there's levels. We call our world 3D. You know, then there's other levels of existence, of planes, of knowings that we need to tap into. So when we get into a certain area, then we attract the vibration of that area. And we're able to communicate because we're starting to know the vibration. It's the same as if you come from the city and go to the country, you're going to have to change your vibration. In the same way of people coming from the country into the city, you have to learn this vibration, the languages and how people are. It's the same way with the star people. They all have different vibrations. So to communicate with them, you need to work on their level. And demands, forget it. Don't make demands and say, come talk to me, come down if you're there. Don't do this stuff, because that when you start demanding, it sets off a negative vibration, and that's not what it's about. So you need to go in your quiet time, your ceremony, your honorable, your love time, and to raise yourself into a certain level of spirit so you could communicate, so you could touch their world. They're waiting for you. You know, just as we wait for those that want to learn something from us as well. So it's the same way, as above, so below. So we need to connect into their level, and they could come down and connect to our level. So we both need to meet halfway. The star people have been here for a long time. Our whole system is based around star knowledge. The white buffalo calf woman came. She was our greatest messenger, and she still is. She used to come with 7 sisters. She's the baby sister. The blue star woman, red star woman, white star woman, Grandma Turtle, and the corn woman, the Holy Mother, and the Lady of, we could call her the other, the Lady of Guadalupe is the corn lady. They're both one and the same, but one's, but anyway, it goes, the little white buffalo calf woman, she's the baby sister. So she was the messenger, and she came way at a time. What the way she told us was over 15,000 years ago, and this goes back into the time when the giants some of them were still roaming this earth, and they were going out of existence. Waziata, this way where the giants lived. So she helped to work this whole system that we have, this whole star system that we have. They gave us a way of ceremony. They gave us a way to pray. She gave us a way to survive, and that was allowed us to be who we are today. So she came from the stars of the Pleiades. So what she brought was this knowledge and this beautiful way of ceremony from the stars. Now, she originally came from the Big Dipper, the sister and her 7 brothers, but like Maldek, something happened, and there was an implosion, and her incarnation went to the Pleiades. So so she came in through this white buffalo way. And we have relatives that hold the stories sacred, hold the knowledge, and hold the spirit of the white buffalo calf woman very, very sacred. So she's our teacher on this land. She's our communion of this land. She is one of the very beautiful star messengers that came in order for us to make it through to this day. So the star people, there's many levels, and there's levels of dimension that they work with as well. So if you want to work with star people such as Arcturus, their 8th-dimensional relatives, they work with the Elohi. They're all fine-tuned. I call them the eyes of God, the eyes of the spider, you could say. And as well, the teachings of the eyes of the spider. We have the Elohi that work with them, the Elohi of peace and Elohi of tranquility, the old ways of Hercules and Cassiopeia and Cyclopia, the ways of sacred Orionis and the ways of Arcturus. So there are areas of the 8th-dimensional levels that work with the 2 lakes here on Mother Earth. And it's very important that you refine your awarenesses on these levels. So I would take, for example, refining your level and your feeling and everything that you are with 8 people. And if you were to block this off, there was an old game show that was similar to this. But you take 8 people and you put a curtain in front of them, and all these 8 people, they say something. They might imitate somebody. They might say something like, "My name is President Obama." And each one of these 8 figures could imitate his voice. Your job is to find out from the outside of that curtain which one is the real Obama. So that's how you need to work your way, to do some very delicate refining work, spiritual work within inside yourself. Because a lot of the star people in the past, some of them weren't too nice, you know. They were doing some abductions and they were doing things that created a lot of fear in people, a lot of chaos. And so we need to work with redefining our awareness with our relatives from the stars. This land is most of the Native American people are Pleiades, most of them. There are some that have working in the ways of Andromeda, some Sirius as well. So we're all connected, we all work together, they all work very close together, and even with Orionus, you know, sacred Orionus. So there's so much to learn about the star people. They're there, they're waiting for us, and our job is to connect to them, to raise our vibrations to their levels so we could communicate. Because there's many things that they want to share with us. But we can't do it by sitting around doing nothing. So when you have a moment, spend some time, look outside in the evening, stare at the stars, get to know and be friends with the stars. It's fun and it's a great experience to sit and watch this whole world. You can't let your world go by without watching and spending a moment with the stars. Itakuasi. Mwambli Jaja Zizi Itacha Miedo. At this time, I wanted to thank all the leadership of this world. The only terminology that I could think of was, I call it the guru syndrome. And it's not a nice terminology in my part, but it's a situation where people needed to learn a lesson. And sometimes that's what's necessary in their walk, and that's what they chose, because under the laws of attraction, then whatever you need in your life is usually right in front of you. Like for now, we have these messages that Spirit has been pushing to get out on a 3D level and some on other levels. But right now, on a very grounded level, saying thank you is always in order, because the people that have been chosen to help others and teach them in different ways of enlightenment and walking their light, they've done a beautiful job, and they brought us into this new age of the coyote and the mouse, or also known as the age of Aquarius. So this is a very, very beautiful age. It's a very high feminine age. And this age is just a little bit different. And it has to do with standing in your integrity during this time. Because we've learned so much during this last age of Pisces, through the ways of the mind and also the ways of the sacred mind, that brought us to this point. Now, a lot of times we do need help, and under the laws of attraction, we're led into a group of men or led to a group of women that help us to understand where we're at and at this moment in our life, and they help us with the next level or the next sequence that needs to be addressed in your lifetime. And sometimes, because of the way our society is, everybody needs something for something that they want to give. and usually it's a monetary thing. And sometimes our teachers go a little bit beyond their needs and get more than necessary. And they end up buying limousines and cargo vans and and many things that's not necessary in their walk. They're supposed to be teaching in this walk thy talk method, and sometimes they forget. They get tested with the ways of money, the ways of their notoriety, of fame. They get tested in the ways of drugs and alcohol, sex, and there's many other things that stand in front of them that alter their perceptions. And because of that, well, then they learn how to mix their needs with their wants, and it gets a little bit convoluted at times because their personal desires get in the way, their perceptions and their ways of projecting what's necessary gets altered to a state where there's people get some confusion in their life. So then they go to another person, and sometimes the next person is just as bad as the first person. So you have to get back into that basic area of intent on what you really want and what you really need in your life. So that's how it works. So all of our relatives, both men and women of the flesh that works in the spiritual ways, we know now if their word is good, if their word is in integrity, stands in integrity. And the first time I went to see a psychic, there was a psychic fair, so I decided to go in there. And what I've seen, I wasn't accustomed to. I've seen a lot of people with a whole bunch of cards and a little price on there, and I was looking at them. But there was a lady that was sitting way in the back by herself. She was just sitting there alone. That's the lady that I went to. Because it allows you to give what you feel that you received. And there was a difference because the woman that was sitting there didn't have any cards. And she didn't rely on anything. She just relied totally on her inner self, her spirit guides. So that really helped me to see the difference on externalizing for an answer or internalizing for an answer. So the internalizing was what I picked at that time, because I grew up that way with a lot of our relatives, and we grew up with listening. Listening was one of the basic ingredients for learning. Listening without asking a question. And this is the way we were taught. We didn't ask questions for like 8 years. And within those 8 years, our questions were being answered without our knowing it. All the things we thought about, the questions were in front of us on an internal level, and it's because people knew how to feel, knew how to take your auric field and feel it, that they could answer every question that you have on the internal levels because they feel. So that was very real to me as well. So then after 8 years, then they told us, now you could ask a question. And at that time, all the questions were answered, so there wasn't anybody that really raised their hand or made it a point to ask a question, because it was all done. within those 8 years. We've seen a lot of men, a lot of women create an avenue for themselves to, you could say, trick people. So, if you want to be tricked, you will be tricked. So, if you want to be lied to, you will be lied to. So, take your pick. If you want the truth, you know that it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's all inside of you as well. So, it depends on your teacher. Who do you want your teacher? Who do you want your teacher to be? If you want Budweiser to be your teacher, then Bud is going to show you everything there is to know about his world of alcohol. If you want the universe to be your teacher, then yes, there's so much out in and around to learn, and mainly it's all within you. Everything that you need to know, it surfaces because it's all in your DNA. It's all in your body. You just got to pull these memories out, and these memories, they go back lifetimes and lifetimes. So, and it's fun because it's so true, and people feel it and they know it, but yet, because of the way we're taught and our thought patterns are in this world of illusion, you cannot prove anything that you say as far as living a lifetime over in Peru, Egypt, or wherever you decide, wherever you remember, you can't prove that. But you know it to be true on another level. So we need to be our own grandfather. We need to be our own father. We need to be our own mother and grandmother. We need to be our own priest. We need to be our own everything as far as the teacher. We need to work at that because everything that we want now, it's available. It's available. Information, knowledge is just a click of the mouse. That's why they call it the age of the mouse. And also the age of the coyote. So you have to be really aware of what's going on right now. And on the spiritual level, I like this Aquarian age because it deals with feminine and deals with correcting the astrology of 13 constellations, and you could find out all these are true. Ophiuchus is the 13th constellation. Then we work with the 13 moon cycles. We work with the full moons and the new moons and the quarter moons and the second quarter moons. There's so much energy and there's so much life and so much that the moon has to give as well. And we're learning more about the sun and how the sun works through our eyes and works through our body, works through our pineal and pituitary and your hypothalamus glands. So we need to utilize this for ourselves. And then you don't have to go and see anybody. You don't have to go and ask them questions because the answers are there. Their answers are right in front of us every day. From the time that sun pops over the hill to the time it goes down. Every answer that you need is within that time period. This is our time. So the Spirit said that as two-leggeds, our time is when the sun is up. And when the sun goes down, then that time belongs to all animals, belongs to the Spirit. So that's a different world. It's a beautiful world. It's a good, strong spirit world as well. So the age of the trickster is about over, because that's what you want. You're done with that effect of. You have to allow it. You have to allow yourself to look for the truth, the real truth, the spirit truth. That's going to help you, something that has the highest intent for you and your growth. So we have to pay attention at this time, during this time of Aquarius. Also, we're having relatives that are calling and talking about their imagery and their meditation is a little bit warbled and a little bit convoluted with they can't see, it's a little bit too blurry, because they're talking to relatives that, such as Lord Michael, Archangel Michael, and different ones that worked with the age of Pisces. So at this time, there's in the Kapipila realm, the ones that are working is Uriel and Aurora, because Michael succeeded in his quest during this age to help with Emmanuel's vision to help to create the evolution of light for this, creating the light, a brighter light for Mother Earth. So we need to look at the change of the guard, the change of the spirit, the change that's within you.
For more information on the next Star Knowledge Conference, go to starknowledgeconference.com.
Many of our relatives that live in the cities, they grew up in the cities. That's just the way they decided to work and to experience. And the city, it carries a lot of situations that make you involved with worlds that actually don't belong to you. You get involved with other circles of other people, other relatives and all this, so there's so much going on that a lot of times you don't have too much time for yourself. You get involved with this whole system that's based around very unnatural things, such as cars, honks, sirens, there's a lot of noise in the city. So your body gets accustomed to that. A lot of movement, and your body gets accustomed to that. So there's times when we had relatives come from the city and come into our land, and to be a part of the quietness, be a part of nature. And it's very difficult for them because they don't have a connection to the land. For one, they don't know the land. The farmers know the land very good. All the people that are working with the land, growing things, and they're connected really good. But there needs to be a connection to the spirit of the land. There's a lot of spirit. Number one spirit is Mother Earth, and Mother Earth is the whole consciousness of humanity. Mother Earth, that's the spirit of the earth. So we need to get in contact with different types of spiritual entities, auras, guides, different types of lights, and different ones that work with different forms of nature, such as there's men that could talk with eagles, and men that could talk with buffaloes and elk and deer, coyotes, and name them. They're there. They talk to the clouds and the wind, talk to the water. They talk to everything. So when you come from the cities and you see that, it looks very weird. Looks very weird because you're not connected, for number one. You don't understand. You never haven't seen anything like that. Number two, and so what needs to be done is to just get quiet. It takes a while to get quiet. takes a while to get all that out of your system, to absorb the sound of nature, to start listening to silence. The silence is a very beautiful friend, especially in nature. So then the insects are very important. The insects talk. The ants talk. You could learn a lot from ants. You could learn how to see from ants, and you could learn how to utilize your light. So we use our bodies. We haven't been taught how we could use our mind. We haven't been taught how to use our bodies or anything like that. Levitation it exists, but it's not in a long-term existence. Most people that do levitation, they don't do it very long because of the mind. And also telepathy. Telepathy exists in nature. You could feel, hear, and you have to learn how to hear with your heart, because your heart carries all the DNA of every sense, all the senses of your body, and so does each other organ that you have. They all intermingle with each other. So nature is a very good friend. So when you come into our land, you're going to see things like powwows, people dancing, people singing, people having a good time, competing. And then if you're lucky, you're going to come to a sweat lodge. So sweat lodges are a form of purification, form of receiving good health, form of receiving prophecy of your life. So there's so much in the health that you need, whether it's on a physical, mental, or spiritual or emotional levels. It's all there wherever you decide to grow. So then the languages are so unique in all the tribes. Every place I went to pray with circles, well, you have to go really deep to feel and to understand and honor and to love ceremony just like other tribes love their ceremony. You have to be with them. So learning how to feel is very important. And you might go to sun dances, and sun dances are different. They're not all the same. I don't care if you, I won't care where you go, and they're not all the same, and they're different every year. It's not like everything has a routine or schedule. It's not like that. It's based around the sun. It's based around the ways of ceremony. So when you're at these ceremonies, you stand quiet and don't ask questions. Just watch, experience, and put your heart into the spirit of the tribe, the spirit of the land. So, and this is the way you honor the people, because we do have these old laws within the Kitpaq society ways that say if you are in the land of a strange tribe, remove your moccasins in honor of their land and their God, their gift of it's their great possession. This is from the Great Spirit. So and we have a basic saying as well on the outside: when in Rome, do what Romans do. So when you go out and visit the indigenous peoples, don't go in there thinking that you know everything, because once you start that, you're not going to learn anything. You're going to wish you had honored the people of the land. So when you come, you're always welcome, because the Spirit told us when the four directions come, don't turn them away. So when you come to my home, you're always welcome. So honor the people, honor the land, honor the ceremony. Mitakuye Pi. I carry this way called star knowledge, and one of the understandings and knowledges that we have is from the sun, because the sun is a star. It's our closest star. So learning to appreciate what the sun has to offer for humanity is needs to be felt and needs to be honored. So we do have a lot of songs for the sun, and our greatest ceremony is called the sun dance. Now, blindness is associated with the sun, because we heard way back when that if you stare at the sun, you're going to go blind. And there's no truth to that at all. There hasn't been any documented cases where anybody has ever gone blind staring at the sun. I was first introduced to sun dance ways in 1973, and that was my walk, my sun dance walk. Started that sun dance way. And now, in 1978, when Jimmy Carter passed this law, Freedom of Religion Act, that allowed the Indian people from all walks of life, all nations of this country, to pray to God. Before, it was against the law. So from that, there was a feeling of release. Just everybody's able to breathe and take a good breath, because they're able to say, feel, think, do, share what they felt. So there's a lot of knowledge, spiritual knowledge that you carry within your body. And as you know, if you don't share them, they become similar to what they call as a secret. So and a lot of people, a lot of Indian people, they didn't want to say anything because they carried those old memories from their ancestors, even their mothers and fathers, not to say nothing, because it was against the law. And if they were to say something, then sometimes some of the spirit people, medicine people, we call them, and would get thrown in insane asylums, because they talk to rocks, they talk to clouds, and talk to trees and animals and birds. They talk to nature. So the people that worked in the mental institutions called them crazy. And two of my grandfathers were in insane asylum. One lived through it, and the other one died because they talked to spirit. So, but that psychological effect was a carryover to all the tribes, and they say, don't say nothing. And today it's still like that. Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. So, but now the Spirit has allowed us to say something, because we need to help you to love Mother Earth. And doing and helping in that effort is teaching people how to pray. Not to pray from a book, to read a whole bunch of words, but to voice your own prayer from here out, your own spirit, your own heart message. That's what's important. So, learning how to walk on inner levels and to voice you, to voice what you're about, what you need, and how you talk to the creation, how you talk to Mother Earth. So, sun dance is one way. And people go there with that thought way in the back of their mind that if they stare at the sun, they're going to go blind. And so far, all these years of sun dancing, I haven't heard or seen anybody go blind. So we need to understand this, that the sun is one of our greatest messengers, and I call it our greatest computer. because whatever you need to know is there. So you need to listen to the sun with your heart and with your eyes. Your eyes could hear. So when you stare at the sun, you talk to the sun, and the sun's going to relay messages back and forth. And the sun creates so much healing within you. Helps to create, realigns everything in your system. It realigns your pineal. It realigns your pituitary glands, because those are what you need to feed in order to create your clairvoyance, in order to create your clairaudience, along with the crystalline form that's forming in your body. So when those are not aligned, then you're going to start developing headaches and migraines and things. So you're battling yourself because you don't want to pick up your responsibilities, your sacred responsibilities. But go out and go spend some time with the sun. Go dance, sing. There's a lot of songs. A lot of tribes, a lot of our people, a lot of clans, a lot of circles, they have their ceremonies. Some are closed, some are open. So you have to use your law of attraction and let your spirit guide you to where you're going to be welcomed, where you're going to receive help. So we're all in this together. We're all working together, and we need to create a better light on Mother Earth. So the sun is one of the answers to how we need to create a brighter light during this evolution of love. So this energy that comes in from the rays of the sun, it helps you receiving it. And they always say that your eyes is the one that is the receiving and also the sending of the messages. You can send a message with your eyes, and you can receive them with your eyes, much the same as how your mouth sends and how your ears receive, and much how your heart will send as well through telepathy, and how your body receives the message back. So there's many ways of communication that your body adjusts to during your walk. So Sundance Ways is just that. There's many reasons. Each person that dances has a separate reason, and they're not all the same. They're not all the same. It's so unique how everybody could be so different in their cause and yet have so much oneness in their ways of the heart. So Sundance is working with the eyeballs. Utilize your eyes, and you could learn how to see. Really see, and also learn how to hear as well. Not with just your heart, but with your eyes. So pay attention. And if you get to that point and your vibration is the same, then we welcome you, and you to come and to visit. And everything that you do should benefit humanity. So whether you're dancing or not, just go out, spend time with the sun. Sit, spend time with the sun. When the sun comes up, talk to that sun. When the sun goes down, talk to the sun. Say thank you. And you're going to hear a message. You're going to hear another voice back. Not in the voice that you're hearing at this time, but it's an inner level, very beautiful spirit voice that comes through. And it's such a beautiful knowing to know that the sun is speaking to you. So take your time. Get yourself together. And they said that when you make a prayer, when you make a request, the amount of time that you spend praying, singing, whatever it takes, that's the amount of time that you should sit still in your silence and receive and welcome the message. The first law is sons belong to fathers, for fathers were once sons, and daughters belong to mothers, for mothers were once daughters. If the mother were to raise a son, then he could never become a warrior. If the father were to raise a daughter, then she would always have trouble in her search for gentleness. The pride of the father in his son, through the glint of his son and the sweat of his son, is in a worthy effort. Now the pride of the mother in her daughters, how gentle she becomes. The father is law of the lodge. Mother is love. If the father becomes love and law of the lodge, then the mother becomes useless in the eyes of the children. And if the mother becomes law and love of the lodge, then the father becomes useless in the eyes of the children. So each has their place. So this was a very important law. And when I was teaching, I went and went over these laws every day with the students to help them to understand it a little better. But it was, of course, it was sort of a little difficult because they were just sons and daughters. So they seen at that time a little bit of a problem in their family structure, and when something wasn't going right, you could see that this law was actually part of the solution that needed to be heard. Now the second law is condemn not a man for the color of his skin, the hue of his flesh, or the lilt of his voice, or the curvature of his face, for it is the unseen within him which could love you. So they're talking about how you really feel about a person, how you see a person. We shouldn't judge. We shouldn't look at people the way maybe we're programmed because of their black or their red, their yellow, their white, or they have shaggy hair, or they're ugly, or that's not what we need to look at anymore. It's about what we see in a person in their heart. So condemn not a man for the color, the hue, or the lilt of his voice, or the curvature of his face. So it's unseen. So we know that through feelings. So we got to strengthen our perceptions of how we look at each other, and we could go beyond that part of the judgment that we use. Next one is also about sons, and it has to do with fasting as well. And this is the third law, which says that for 7 sets of 4 summers, place your hands on the shoulder of your son, and standing there before you naked, remain quiet for a time, and knowing this is the link and the decency of man, tell your son, tell him you love him. And as a child, this will be here and gone, and as a man, he will ask himself, did my father love me? And the wind will tell him so. Now, the 4th law of the Kit Fox Society is look into the eyes of your child and see the miracle of the Great Spirit. Myself, when I held my children, I look at them and I could feel it. I melted. My heart and my emotional system just melted into them. It was just pure love. And I didn't want to put them down. I didn't want to have anybody take them out of my hands. But that was the feeling that I had when I held my children. So this law is asking you to look into the eyes. So they're beautiful. Children are very, very beautiful. So the 5th one is, he or she who knows not the love of a smile of a child cannot know the love of a great spirit. So when you're looking at a child, they're representative of the great spirit, of the mystery. Being that child, you need to feel and you need to know love, because that's what brought in the child in the first place. And this is one of the reasons why we're here on Mother Earth, is to love, and we could learn that love from a child. It's very important that we reconnect, through our children. When you think you are a great man and above your tribesmen, look into the forest and stand before a mighty pine and tell that pine how great of a man you are. And we usually add, and see who stands the longest. So you could even take that a little bit further and take the smallest blade of grass and stand next to that little tiny grass and tell that grass how great of a person you are, and see who stands the longest. So we need to look at ourselves and humble ourselves to each other, especially to nature, because nature is what we depend on. Nature is everything that we eat. All the plants, the wild game, the birds, the fish. There's even the water from the springs. It's all wild. It's all beautiful. So we need to humble ourselves to the trees and to the plants, and look at ourselves that we need all of nature in order to live, in order to survive. When you become like a wolf in the lodge of your loved ones, then go into the forest. Find tranquility there and rest for a while and come home again. A person, a complete person. So this goes back to these laws. We have emotions and things that create stress in our everyday life, and sometimes we bring it home with us and we forget to leave it out the door when we come in. So we create situations and they affect our relationships and things like that. So we need to leave that where it belongs. If it's work, leave it there. So we need to spend more time at home with our loved ones, with our families. And when you're crabby and cranky, this is kind of like what it is. It's a grounded way. Stop yourself and help with each other with the understanding that I'm feeling this way, but it's not a personal thing against anybody. But if you're feeling that way, spend time, go outside, and don't leave that energy in your home. Keep it away from your home. Because people, when you come to your home, they could feel you. When you go into a house, they could feel the energy of your home. So go outside and come back. Spend some time, pray, meditate, walk, think it out, walk it out, do something, because your loved ones are affected by you. And you have a lot of power, so you need to use your power wisely. Fathers and mothers, in your youth have time for your sons and daughters. And in your age, your sons and daughters will have time for you. So this here is also a very important time, and because we see, and we grew up, and a long time ago, we never seen our people in old age homes. Never put them away. We always took care of our mothers and fathers, our grandmas and grandpas. They always were at home. So even this day, our family took care of my mother and my father in their old age. We didn't stick them in an old age home or throw them, put them out. We took care of them because they took care of us. They had time for us when we were younger, and we loved them for who they are. And sometimes they become like a little baby, and we were a baby, and they took care of us. They cleaned us up, they fed us. So some of our loved ones, when they get older, they're going to be like that. And some won't, but still take care of each other, love each other because they loved you. So this is part of that law.